Welcome to Hypothetically Sound Presents Nerd Shit, where we talk about nerd shit, and we're going to talk about the ultimate nerd shit of the day, and that is The Last Airbender, the Netflix series.
Yeah.
So we've watched 2 episodes, so we're going to talk about 2 episodes here in this episode, and then we'll do 2 more, and then 2 more, and 2 more until we hit the final episode, which is 8. So Alek. Before, we've talked a little bit about what our expectations were coming into it in previous podcasts, but we'll do it real quick here. What were your expectations before we watched the first 2 episodes?
I think my main expectation, I didn't have many to be fair. With all the news of the changes and stuff, I just kind of went in hoping for the best. Just cinema wise, so no expectations.
Yeah, I definitely, unlike One Piece, where I knew nothing about One Piece, so I had zero expectations. There are, I think, very important plot points in the animated version of the show, so having certain details I was expecting, but otherwise I was going into it with like an open mind to what they could possibly do, and let them have their creative freedom without ruining the show like the movie did. And speaking of that, because that's obviously people are going to compare it. While the movie did do a lot of things that the animated show did in like story wise, where they fell apart was the acting, names, and just like their version of bending was the big thing that people didn't like. And I get, and like Sean, I was like, I'm pronouncing the names as an Asian director, but when the show's source material isn't naming them that way, there was no reason for him to change it. And I think that's what a lot of people had gripe was he changed things that didn't need to be changed. So that's all I'm hoping is they're not changing things that don't need to be changed just for the sake of doing it because of something they feel, instead of this is how the source feels. So yeah, that's my expectation for going into the show. So how did you like the way they decided to open the series for Netflix compared to the anime show?
I think the intro scene was cool, just kind of showing the menace of the series, which would be the Fire Nation, right? A lot of the things I'm gonna say, just want to preface, is gonna be nitpicky for sure.
And spoiler alerts if you're watching and haven't watched the first 2 episodes. Spoiler alert.
It is gonna be nitpicky. Like the first thing, I made a comment while we were watching with like the earthbending. It looked like he was really struggling to make like a little wall and all that stuff, and it was very dramatic and slow. And they did like a slow-mo type deal, I thought, right away with that earthbender in the beginning. And I was like, man, I really hope earthbending isn't this dramatic as a joke.
Yeah.
And then it was just that dramatic. And like I understand in the series, some people struggle to like lift up like heavy stuff like boulders and all that stuff. So it's fair. And it's the only earthbending we've really seen in the series, so I can't really judge it off outside of just that.
The Avatar in the second episode,
yeah, which again is like, oh, that's the Avatar, so hopefully she can pop up fucking walls like it's nothing, right? But I think the intro sequence was neat and cool, like just to really kind of just forefront what the primary antagonist group is. I think the intro was kind of weird.
Yeah.
It was really long and drawn out of Katara talking about like it's essentially just that when we needed him the most, he vanished.
Yeah.
But it was really drawn out in my opinion. Otherwise, yeah, I mean that's the intro. That's pretty much the whole intro, right?
Yeah. So I liked it as a fan of the show, and as like, so I'm trying to watch the show as someone who is a fan, but also keeping in mind as a creative person, someone who, and a content creator, someone who hasn't seen anything on the Avatar. And I think they did a very good job of catering to both sides with the opening scene. Like, we know, as fans of the show, what happened to the Airbenders in the Southern Temple. we know it, we know the history, everything that happens. But someone not watching wouldn't know it. So by showing what happened, like you're getting the new audience, plus you're actually giving fans of the show kind of fan service to what actually happened at the temple. Like we have all like there's a lot of theories and things of what happened in the temple, and we got to see some of the brutality that happened at the temple.
Mm.
And so I thought that was really cool of them to do. And then sorry, I went a little farther than the opening scene.
Yeah, you went to the
Sorry.
ending there.
But even before that, the actual opening scene with the earthbending versus firebending, I thought it was really cool, like showing the bending right away. It's already better than the movie because they're bending without.
You didn't need a candle to make fire. It was very nice.
My hope is because going to the him struggling, it was only one move he struggled with.
No, it was like three total.
No, like this is when he put his hand into the ground and like twist it. So I'm hoping that whatever that move he was trying to do is just an advanced move that he didn't have perfected. Because like even when he lifted the wall to block off his friend to run away, like he didn't struggle as much as he did by putting his hand in the ground, twisting, having all these little pebbles pop up and shooting them at people. Like that move he seemed to struggle with, and like he was ripping up the ground and ran and hit people. He like took out like 6 firebenders while he was running towards them. So I wonder if like there was something special about that move that he just didn't understand or that we don't understand.
I don't know. There was during that whole sequence, like he popped up like or like he made like earth spikes really fucking really quick, right? And it just seemed like a very inconsistent like decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Like him trying to like was it or here's how to better word it. At first I thought it was maybe he was struggling to remove ground from ground. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And then like when it was just like pushing earth from it and not removing the earth from the ground was easier. But then when he brought up the wall, it was slower.
Yeah.
You know? So it just seems like a very inconsistent pacing of it. And again, it's literally the first earthbender you see. And I'm assuming they meet Boomy. I saw the trailers and he's castless. So like I'm sure we'll see something else. But if it's only Boomy we see for some reason, that's also not a good indicator because Boomy is like at the time the best earthbender.
Like I could Google this real quick, but I'm pretty sure you know. Do they get arrested in the Earth Kingdom before or after meeting Boomy? So they go to the before. So we're gonna see Earthbenders like in the internment camp essentially. That they all fight back eventually.
Yeah, I think it was before.
Because
I also don't know. I didn't see Haru in the cast list, so I don't know.
True. So yeah, maybe they took. I see that would lose me. Like I think that was a very important little mini arc for the siblings and the Earthbenders. So not having that would devoid your character of Katara and Sakura growing as leaders that they end up being by the end of it.
Katara and Sakura from the Hidden Leaf Village.
Did I say Sakura? I said
you did say Sakura.
I thought I said Sakura.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what they decide to do. I saw Jet was in it, so they got that going. But again, I'm just basing this off a cast list. We have only watched 2 episodes. We gotta see what goes on.
Yeah.
But no, I was gonna transition, but I don't know how to transition. I would like to actually talk about the primary characters.
Okay.
You mentioned like growth in like some arcs you feel like are important to characters and stuff. How do you feel about the changes that they kind of made to some of the characters, or how they're acting or being acted right now? Is there any that stick out more than others?
So obviously, the big one that I took away that I wasn't a huge fan of how his character is being portrayed or acted out right away is Zuko. Prince Zuko. I not a fan of how emotionally vulnerable he is being portrayed right away. Like I would understand if like around his uncle he's more so, but I feel like he's being portrayed as like this uh crybaby almost. Like he's not very authoritative in his actions. Like there's points and times when he's like loud and like he seems like he could be that character, but he doesn't. He's like in the second episode when he asked the dude not to talk about the Avatar, it seemed like he was begging. And like he doesn't do that in the animated show, especially this early. In the animated show this early, he is cutthroat. He is angry. Like he's been doing this for 3 years. He finally sees his path to get home and it's lost. He's not sad about it. He is angry about it. He's gonna do whatever he takes to track it down. He is cutthroat, and it's not being portrayed in the show. It's being portrayed that he's scared and like, and don't get me wrong, he is like the character is very nuanced, and that nuance is portrayed throughout the entire first and second season of the show. And so far, like all we've seen is this kid who, like, why was he like he has no connection to Katara, and he sees her, and like he's sad that he has to go through her when that's not how the case would be. He is determined to get the Avatar. He shouldn't have been sad. He should have been should have scared her, and he didn't, and it was weird to me.
Yeah, I need the weird confidence Zuko where he's like trying to fight Katara. He's like round 3 or whatever the hell it was when they were in the snow. He just gets fucking blasted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he is a little whiny. And stuff. And like if we're looking at a realistic portrayal of a teenager, I guess you can yeah, he would be probably more like sad upset versus or sad desperate versus like angry desperate. But like also if you look at the time period / settings, it's like a war team. So I feel like they just build different, so they just be more angry.
Yeah.
And like they use anger as their like release for the trauma they have.
And so I looked him up. So his name is Dallas James Louis. And I was like, maybe he hasn't had many roles before this, and it's just how he was. But he's had plenty of roles before this. He was in Shang-Chi. He was in other movies and shows. He's been acting for a while. So it's not a lack of experience that's doing it. So it's either his choices he made or the director's choices he made, which both, to me personally, are wrong. I just don't I don't see him as like you said, he has confidence. He's a very confident person. He's confident in his skills. He's confident in leading, but he doesn't come across confident in his leading ability. And like you said, like even if they were going with some kind of different way, like he's still a leader of a boat. Like he is exiled, but he's still a prince. He brings it up all the fucking time that he is the prince. And so he has that power and he uses it. And this version of him, I don't see doing the things that he does later in this season. Like there's no reason I'm going to believe he's going to go and rescue the Avatar. I don't see any kind of confidence or power that would make me believe it's him.
Moving on from Zuko, because that I feel like that covers a lot of it, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just kidding. His scar, I really wish they went with a prosthetic instead of just like base makeup. And he has an eyebrow, and it's weird. It's weird seeing Zuko with 2 eyebrows.
Yeah, and that again, I think comes down. That one I think is more laziness by the production team. We're in a world where TikTok, YouTube, all these places exist, and people get to show their skills off. And there's TV shows about movie and TV show prosthetics and makeup. So we know some of the amazing people out in this world that can do it. And it is their job to replicate it over and over again. So if they're feared that they made up this cool thing they couldn't replicate, no, that's their job, is to do it over and over again. So do something cool. And like you said, it just seems like they put on some, oh, he has a birthmark. Like, that's what it looks like. It looks like a birthmark.
It does look like a birthmark, yeah. We actually knew a kid in elementary school that had one.
Mm-hmm.
He rode our bus.
Like, they looked at Summer Rae and was like, oh, she has a cool one on her hand. I guess we can put it on his face and it'll be the same thing.
Yeah, it just doesn't look... I don't know. I just wish it looked better.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really hard complain. It's just like, again, nitpicky. It's just...
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
They went for it, yeah.
Yeah, like, go, like you said, go for it. You're Netflix, you have the money, like, you want this to be success, because if this is successful, you're going to get other franchises that's going to allow you to do their thing, especially in the anime field. And, like, because no one else is doing it, so you have One Piece, now you have Avatar. If they're successful, you'll get the Narutos, you'll get the My Heroes, you'll get the Sword Art Online, you'll get all these places that would want their stuff to be live action because they believe you can do it. And I just think at this point you don't take these opportunities lightly, and Netflix seems to be doing that at some points.
Another decently big change I feel like they made was Aang's personality. And it starts super early. Like, you kind of see him being a kid, and then he finds out that he's the Avatar, and he leaves the temple for a completely different reason than he does in the cartoon series. He leaves it essentially to get a breather and to think on, like, I'm the Avatar, like, I have this responsibility now. I was just told that I have this responsibility, you know, all this stuff. Instead of him trying to run away from his problems. And they kind of focused really hard on bringing forth that part of his personality where he accepts he's the Avatar and he accepts he has these responsibilities and tries to figure it out, versus having him grow into it from being, like, still a 12-year-old who is trying to run away from that responsibility, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And trying to like maintain that childhood innocence that he had before he ran away and got stuck in the iceberg.
That's my biggest thing. Like, I like the actor who's playing him. I like Aang, I do. But like you said, he's not childish enough. Like, and I get they said like they were going like a slightly different direction with him, and they were going to cut some of the childish. But like you said, he is already accepting he's the Avatar when, like, we go like almost the entire season without him accepting it. Like, he forcefully runs from it. He does kiddie things. He gets yelled at all the time. Like, it just, like, maybe they're saving it for when he burns Katara later on. I don't know. It just like you said, it's weird how accepting he is of it now. It's not like his fear in the second episode when he's talking to Kyosha isn't, hey, I don't want to be the Avatar because I'm young. It's, what if I don't change anything, or if I make it worse by being an Avatar, like just Avatar in general. And instead of, I want to live my life, I'm a kid, that he does in the show.
Also, I do think it's really funny. He summons her at the shrine, and he's like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, figure it the fuck out then.
Yeah.
And just starts fucking going at him. Like, this is a 12-year-old boy who is not known war. This is another thing. He accepts this really well for not ever knowing war. Like, he was gone before war even technically broke out. Like, he missed the whole genocide of his people. It was just weird how accepting he is of this, you know, of this new reality of his. I feel like there's no culture shock in it. That's like my only gripe, honestly. Otherwise, like you said, I like Aang, how he's portrayed so far. I don't know. I still have 6 episodes. I'll tell you if it gets annoying or not. To me, but like, I like how he is right now. I think he's good. I like the actor. The actor's good. Like, he's a good kid. Like, he's pretty good. I don't have much to say about the Water Tribe siblings, Katara and Sokka. They seem super bland. Like, they're just there to me.
Yeah, they're there.
Even though
right
the
now.
whole second episode was him falling in love with Suki, it just seems super almost forced and bland,
Yeah,
honestly.
they both come off very middle of the road. There's no highs, there's no lows for either of them yet, which isn't the case. They both have like emotional highs and emotional lows. And
Mhm.
like so far his emotional high is, like you said, falling in love with this girl instantly because it's
In
the first
48
girl.
hours, by the way, like
Yeah.
it's been 48 hours and he fucking like props to
Like
him,
it's
honestly.
the first
But
girl he's ever met that wasn't like in his tribe, and that's his high, and his high is still like emotional love him. And then you have his sister who her emotional high so far is, oh, I bended water.
yeah,
Like, oh, I did this. Like, even when she's about to die, or she thinks she's about to die, and she sees her mom, which was really graphic, by the way, being lit up to flames, she still had no real overly expressive emotion on her face, or like she's just like this. Don't hurt me. I'm sorry. With the same like look she's had most of the two episodes.
by the way, what in the world is this fire made out of? Every 5 minutes, someone is covered in gasoline, apparently, because god damn, what are these clothes made out of?
Their firebending is that powerful apparently.
Like, god, gee, Willikers, brother.
It has been a lot. They're like trying to make you understand that the firebenders are no joke. We're just gonna
It's like
light
this is
everybody on
fire.
fire.
Fire is hot, guys. This is how hot it is. It's dangerous. Um, but yeah, the siblings have been kind of, again. It's only 2 episodes in, so
Mhm.
that obviously, hopefully, will change in the next 4. Um, I don't like Sokka's face. Like, I just don't. It's
Mhm.
fine. It's just a personal preference. I do have one, again, nitpicky gripe, but he pulls out his boomerang and tells Suki he made it himself. But in the cartoon, it was like a harem, like his dad gave it to him before he left,
Mhm.
and that made it like super important of why he always kept it on him and brought it with him and used it and stuff, because it was like his dad's memento.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the word. And so it's weird that they decided to like nix that part,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's also, I guess, maybe it contributes to like the quote unquote sexism that they wanted to take out of Sokka.
Mhm.
But it's whatever. Again, it's a boomerang.
So who I was really excited when I saw casting for Paul Sung Hoo Lee to play Uncle Iroh. I
Mhm.
love him as an actor in the roles I've seen him in. Like, just he's a character actor. He does side roles mostly, and I love him in everything I see him in. So far, Uncle Iroh's missing for me. Like, it's not. I don't know if it's his acting. Maybe maybe it's just not enough screen time yet. I don't have the same feeling as I had in the TV series for him. And like we obviously know there is a lot to happen with him still in the future, more character development in the future. Just right now, it seems like he's just there. And that's kind of how I feel about a lot of the characters. Is they're just there.
Mhm.
There's no stakes at the moment, I guess, and that could be partly because of them removing the comet being a driving factor so far. Like there is no rush for them to do anything other than to get to the North Temple because at some point something's going to happen.
Mhm.
Uh, so that's their driving first force now, and there's no hurry for any of them to learn anything or do anything.
Mhm.
And so the pacing is something that we've seen because people are putting out their takes on the show already. There's a lot of takes out there. I'm not gonna say bad or good takes, but one of the common themes I've been seeing, Alec, is pacing.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the pacing?
Um. So it's funny because I felt like it was paced slightly quickly, not like super fast,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it feels like there's a lot happening,
Mm-hmm.
and what, we're 2 hours in of 8 hours worth of content,
Yeah.
give or take, and it's like, dang, I feel like this is going kind of fast. But then you remember that like Kyoshi Island on the cartoon is literally the 4th episode,
Mm-hmm.
which correlates to almost the exact same time
Yeah.
frame as the 2 episodes, right? 2 hours worth of content. Even though they spend way more time on it on episode 2, it still just feels kind of weird that it starts episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like maybe people are just used to seeing that title card in the end cards in between the episodes that give you like solution
you're like,
time has passed for these episodes, unless it obviously just like previously on the Avatar and it starts right where it ends. You know what I'm saying? It gives you the illusion of time, and I think that's why a lot of people think it's probably going a little fast. You don't really get that as much.
Yeah.
With hour long, and they're putting so much into it, you know, that
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, just put so much into it that it just makes you feel like it's going a little bit faster. It's hard too. Like, you don't have the 30-minute episodes, you have 8 episodes that are 1 hour. You gotta try to pack in a lot of info.
And this has been my take on adaptions forever. Book adaptions, TV show to movie adaptions, whatever to whatever adaptions. I always feel, especially when it's like, so if it's a movie to TV show or book to TV show, I always have had this mind frame that TV shows have more time than book to movie adaptions. It's always feel like there shouldn't be a rush in your storytelling. You have 8 episodes. No one's saying you need to do the entire first season in 8 episodes.
Yeah.
In the arbitrary 8 episodes, like you could do 12, you could do 16. It's the same hope I have for Harry Potter. There is a lot of content in the show, plus what you're going to be adding yourself to enhance the story. Take the time in these episodes to tell the full breadth of the story.
Especially if you're not worried about time limit anymore.
I get with kids, it's a lot harder to worry about aging, so like Stranger Things. But if you're making the story so they can age, once they hit that 18, that is the age they're gonna look. Let's not forget, we've had 30-year-olds playing high school students. Like in Glee, the main character, Finn, was a 29-year-old man at the time playing a 17-year-old. So obviously it's not something we're worried about in the acting sphere. So once they hit 18, like, that's what they're going to look like. And so if you're giving yourself these times to like have a time frame move on, especially with the Airbender, it's possible. Like, it's possible to do it in Avatar where they stop somewhere and they've been held captive. So if they went to the Earthbender, they can be held captive there longer than the anime had them be there. Like, no one's saying they break out 2 days in. They can be there for 5-6 months and change. And that could be part of your story of telling. So I'm just I hope in the future they slow down and they don't just throw stuff in there or take stuff out because they're like, oh, I'm worried about time. Just slow down and like, at least that's my take. Is just there's a lot of information that you can tell really good stories if you just take the time to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. Pacing's pacing. I don't think anyone's ever going to be happy. People are going to be like, it's either too slow or too fast. Especially when you have a source material that went on for years and years. Like, it's tough. Especially when it's an IP like Avatar, where people just love it.
Yeah.
So besides that, some really good things is I think the CG is way better than I thought it would be. Minus the airbending CG, it's a little off to me, but like everything else,
there's been cool so in the temple, when his master is fighting, I can't remember the main generals, the father, Iroh's dad, when they're fighting, it's the close up of the air coming out of his palm was really cool. I don't know if you remember, but like they show his palm and the fire as the air's coming out, so it shows you that they're making this element, and so I thought that was really cool. But in the other part of it, Aang flying,
that flying or float. I hope it's not flying.
Yeah, like
floating.
His
down
floats
gliding
down.
or whatever without his whatever. That was weird.
For like it showed like if he gets high enough, he doesn't need it. Is
Mhm.
what they showed, but he uses it constantly, and I get he's using it to go farther or more maneuverability. But yeah, like you said, it was just a little weird. Um, but I thought the CG on all the fire has been fantastic.
Mhm.
Uh, CG on the water bending looks great. On earth bending so far looks really cool. Uh, I did see people complaining about it, but I don't know what I don't know what they want. I don't know what people want.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not sure either. Again, I think it's good. Most of the bending CG is good. Appa looks decent.
yeah, I thought he looked great.
Momo looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously a size difference. Like you can't get a fucking giant water bison or air bison in the in the show looking super
Yeah.
real. You can definitely get a little lemur monkey thing looking
Mm-hmm.
fantastic, right? A lemur
Yeah.
flying squirrel thing. I don't know. I think they look good. They're very cute. I'm not commenting on the dialogue yet because a lot of it has been awkward to me. But again, 2 episodes in,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them are in awkward situations. So like maybe it'll change. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna.
There's a lot more hard hitting dialogue to come.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Other but like, it's like it's not great to me, but it's not bad. It is like a solid 6.5 to me.
Yeah, yeah. I would go at the current first 2 episodes about 6.5, 7. I think, like I said earlier when we were talking, if I didn't know anything about the show, I would be at about 7.5, 8. I think it's cool, just like I with One Piece. I thought they did some cool stuff. There's obviously some stuff where you're like, but as an overall show, yeah, it's entertaining. It's cool, cinematic. Uh, People who are fans are obviously going to nitpick the whole thing, but I enjoy it. Uh,
Yeah, it's been. I wasn't. It was watchable. Like it's been watchable. Like I don't.
mhm.
There's other adaptations that aren't watchable.
Yes.
Like Death Note, pretty much, or most anime
Hmm.
adaptations.
Yeah, and we'll see where it goes. There's a lot of stuff
Let me
that could
let me just say
change.
this: I'd rather watch that 2 hours again than the goddamn M Night Shyamalan movie. All right, that's
Right.
all I'm gonna say. Like that's already an improvement in my eyes, and I think that's makes it worth watching
I mean,
through.
honestly, the scene with Avatar Kyoshi alone is better than everything they did in the movie.
Yeah, I actually really liked all the Kyoshi Warriors.
Hmm.
I feel like they acted well. I feel like again Suki had more character in her in that one episode than the 2 episodes that Sokka and Katara
That is,
had.
she's been
I love
probably
her.
her and the commander that invades the village. Those
Mhm.
have been the most like emotional or lively characters in the series so far.
Yeah,
And
one
they've
hundred
both
percent
been in it for the least amount of time.
for sure.
Like even the grandma in the water village was very just there. Like everybody's just been there so far. No one's been outstanding or standing out except for the two that we just talked about.
Yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed all the Warriors. I think the lady who played Kyoshi herself was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Was really intense, like you expect her to be. Um, the whole sequence was kind of funny though. I'm not gonna lie, they had her blast off like fucking rocket ship for some reason. That
Iron
was
Man
kind of
taking
wild.
off.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. I'm not gonna lie, but otherwise, like, yeah, you know, again, it's watchable. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's not as bad as I've seen people say it is, and it's not as good as I've seen people say it is as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Like I'm a
um,
little higher on it than you, obviously.
mhm.
Uh, but everybody has everybody has their own take. Like you love it, you hate it, cool. Just don't like people who are out there making content and then, oh, this is the worst thing I've ever seen to get views and clicks, and then the people comment are like, yeah, right, I'm never gonna watch it now. No, go watch it yourself. Like it doesn't
Make
matter
your own
what we
opinion.
are saying, go watch it. Like I like the Marvels. not a lot of people like the Marvels. And if you went by reviews, it should never have been made. I enjoyed it. So just you haven't even seen it.
Yeah, haven't even seen it. Reason.
Because
I swear I watched with you.
I think I myself.
You watched that one by yourself? Was it the Eternals I watched with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Eternals was boring as fuck.
Yeah,
bro.
Eternals wasn't very good.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I ain't watched the Marvels because it looked kind of trashy. I didn't watch it not because people said it. It just didn't look good. Just like I ain't watch or I didn't even want to watch the fucking Thor either. Love and Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to watch that shit either. That shit looked bunk too. And guess what? It wasn't very good. It was like a remnant of the past. It was fucking. Mm-hmm. It was like they was trying to catch lightning in a bottle twice and they just couldn't do it. And I kind of regret watching it. You know what happened the last time I listened to people like you should watch it and give it a chance. The second Thor came out. The one with the fucking like evil dark elves and shit. I don't even remember what the fuck it was called.
Dark World.
Yeah, Dark World was fucking awful, bro. That shit was bad as fuck. Honestly, if anyone ever says they like that shit, I ain't trusting them.
Well,
ever in my life.
Well, that's the first 2 episodes. Our take on the character so far, what we like, what we didn't like. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back with episode 3 and 4 probably in the next day or 2, and then 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8, and then we wait a year and a half for the next season to come.
Or we don't, because it's fucking ass and no one likes it, and they don't get renewed. But we don't know yet because we haven't seen it.
There's that chance too. We'll find out very quickly. Probably one of these episodes we'll be saying, "Oh, it's not renewed," or "It's renewed." But yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
Comment on what you guys liked, didn't like. Let us know what you thought of the series so far. If you watch the whole thing, go ahead. I probably won't comment back right away because I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, and if you agree with something or you disagree, or you want to debate your point, not argue, please be nice to me.
Yeah, be nice to him
or something. Shut up.
Or I'll beat you up.
Yeah,
Big brother style. Okay, thank you guys again for listening. Alek, do you have any shout outs?
No, not this time.
Shout out all you.
Just kidding. Oh, wait, you wanted to do it? Go ahead. No, you gotta finish.
You said just kidding, dog.
No, you gotta finish.
Thing. I couldn't let it go, but it's your thing.
Yeah, bruh. Shout out to all the people out there who align themselves with earthbenders, just like me, because I am an earthbender at heart. Boy, that shit's dog shit in this series, bro. I'm done watching. Like, if they do Boomy dirty, I'm done.
You heard that here. He doesn't know how to do his boom boom well.
That's weird. Why would you say that?
What?
Why would you say that?
What, boom boom?
Yeah, it's fucking weird, bro.
You're weird.
Why you always make it weird at the end of these things, man?
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, till next time, guys.
Awkward. It's always awkward. You always make it awkward, man.
Deuces.